Thank you for joining us today in this English briefing session. And we are very excited to see your innovation toward transforming Africa's transit. So my name is Estherine Dusabe. I am the Urban Mobility Project Specialist at WRI Africa. I basically work on the DT4A project that aims to support mapping systems for public transport for African cities. So before I go into details of the DT4A challenge, let me briefly introduce to you who we are. So WRI is a global research organization working at the intersection of environment and development and research. Our mission as WRI Africa is to move human society to live in a way that protects our environment and its capacity to provide for the needs and aspirations of current and future generations. So our vision is catalyze inclusive transformations so Africa's people and landscapes flourish. To do so, we have prioritized three main pillars, such as vital landscape, thriving, resilient cities, and institutional and economic transformation through integrity, innovation, agents, and interdisciplinary respect. So those are our values as WRI. So we work in different cities across Africa continent, as you can see from the slides, and through our regional activities, which are digital transport for Africa and urban mobility profiles, we aim to go or to get to the many cities for African cities. The DT4A project was founded by AFD, or French Development Agency, and the project is mainly managed by WRI. In my presentation today, which focuses on the following outline, I will tell you more about the challenges and benefits and DT4A as a solution to those challenges and innovation challenges. And finally, you will have an opportunity to ask questions, and you will get answers from WRI team. In most African cities, urbanization is increasing rapidly while facing issues of accessibility and climate change, and it has been largely unplanned and unregulated. And when it comes to public transport accessibility, it is even worse. So people, as you can see from these different pictures, people have to wait to stand in long queue for hours waiting for a bus, or while in another part of the city, you will see empty buses running. So you will see traffic congestion, and you can imagine the pollution that can result. So all of this is due to the lack of accessibility of public transport, and the lack of data transit, and lack of proper planning of the urban mobility in the urban mobility sector, specifically for the African cities. So data has the potential to unlock many opportunities. So it can help implement sustainable efficiency and high quality multimodal transit systems. Transit data can help cities measure progress in achieving SDGs. It can help us understand the problems and make data-driven decisions to improve the transport services by creating applications and web-based technology that offer great opportunity to address transit challenges and create quality public transport systems. So DT4A is a project funded by WRI, MIT, Columbia University, and AFD in 2017 to overcome the challenges in the transit sector in African cities, So basically, DT4A works to scale up and support every mobility based on the principles of open data, knowledge sharing, and open source. We are a consortium of different partners, as you can see from your right, across the world. So we pledge to advance safe, affordable, and accessibility towards sustainable urban transport system for all. We provide support for local governments, private companies, startup and civil society to map public transport networks and provide the platform and foster ecosystem and skills that enable cities leverage data collection for transport improvement. So the main goals of DT4A are to create a movement for open transit data across the region and provide expertise and simple open tools to adapt current GTFS data format for African context, for example, gather evidence and present cases like how data can help improve planning and cultivate innovations for beyond mapping. So when we say beyond mapping, we mean that we really want to encourage and promote the uptake and use of open transit data. DT4A works under three main pillars, which are, the first one is learn. We undertake different convenings, workshops, and trainings. The second pillar is create. So we undertake data collection, protection for in African cities. And and then we share the data that's collected to our repository for DT4A websites. And we do this in collaboration of cities, NGOs, universities, and local mapping community. We have websites and blogs platform to ramp up communication among different stakeholders. So we accept and publish blogs from various authors who use the data set from our data repository. For Knowledge Center, we have different policies, applications, and open source tools and software and different materials for trainings. For transit data or GitLab, we have transit data set for 14 African cities. So this is just to show you how data or the transport data is critical in African cities. So for example, for first map at your left, on the left, it shows how urbanization and population are increasing in African cities. So according to the African Sustainable Development Report, the proportion of the population living in urban areas is expected to reach up to 20% by 2015. And among those large cities, only 15 have mapped their public transport and minibus taxi networks and so only 15 cities. For the other at your left, for the other map, it shows what we have. This is just what we have as a DT4A in our repository. We only have 14 cities, which means that 45 million have reliable public transport data, but over than 150 million people do not have reliable public transport data. So that is why it is essential to have dedicated innovators that aim to improve public transport data and tools. So the major activities of DT4A during 3 years, the project is planning to undertake mapping transport in at least 10 cities. And of this, we want to at least 3 to 4 cities to go beyond mapping. Like, as I mentioned earlier, it's like to promote the use of open transit data. And we aim to organize workshops, trainings in 15 cities, and we aim to increase the use of the resource center. And most importantly, the project seeks to support innovations idea through innovation challenge. So I'm gonna talk more about innovation challenge. So I will go through the objectives, impact, eligibility, and timeline of the challenge. So the objective of this challenge is to support initiatives that contribute to open data across Africa and improve transport planning. This is a competitive awards that will be given to four competitive applicants from different parts of the African region, and each applicant will receive 30K USD. DT4A project activity are aligned with the achievement of SDGs 11.2. So we want to receive initiatives that demonstrate their alignment with progress towards SDG 11 in the long term. And also we aim to see the initiatives that aim for universal access, like connecting all communities, including vulnerable groups, specifically for women and children, efficiency to improve the reliability, affordability, and quality of public transport services, and green, minimize the negative environmental impact of mobility and safety that greatly reduce the traffic fatality injuries. So applicants can apply for one of the following activities, include technology, applications, and tools. This means for applicants developing tools for transit data collection. Secondly, for capacity building, it's like for applicants focusing in building the capacity of local government, for example. And then lastly, for research and analysis for applicants going beyond mapping through existing transit data sets we have in our repository. So applicants can be either organizations, NGOs, or universities or researchers and private companies. So for NGOs, you must be able to complete an organizational capacity assessment, be able to provide the most recent annual audit. So in case you don't have an audit, you should be able to provide the income statement, cash flow, and also you should be having the key person who can speak fluently English or French. For private companies, you must have a total amount for annual operation budget of more than 20K USD, and be able also to provide the recent annual audit, as well as having someone who can speak fluently English and French. So in order to be selected, applicants we need to meet the following highlighted criteria. So they should be able to demonstrate understanding of DT4A objectives and clearly explain the innovation, how it aligns with the challenge, and as well as should be in line towards the achieving of SDGs, as I mentioned earlier, Also, the applicants should describe clearly what the innovation is, how it's really filling the gap or needs in the society or in the city, and also the applicant should explain how the innovation is utilizing open source transit data and tools and application. They should be able to describe the impact that initiative will be having in terms of sustainable mobility, urban mobility, and as well as how it could be scalability in other cities or other geographic areas, and as well as to how it's really feasible in that area. So in order to, how will be the fund will be, so the 4 finalists, as I already mentioned that we will be selecting the 4 finalists, so they will be awarded in 2 phases. So the first disbursement will be made once the design, work plan, and preparation stage is completed. And the second disbursement will be made once the implementation is completed and the finalists have presented their achievements. So this means that as this disbursement will not be made at once or at the beginning, so applicants, it's very important for the finalists to think about how they can cover their costs during the design and preparation phase of the initiative. And also the finalists will be having regular support from a wide range of experts during the implementation process. So this is a timeline of the challenge. It has 3 stages. The first stage is about the application process, which has already started. And then the second stage is about preparation or design stage, in which it comprises of 3 months. And after this, that is when the first disbursement will be made. And the last stage is about impact assessment and monitoring and evaluation. So I believe that most of you who joined us today in this session have already started the application process, and if not, please do. And this is the link on how you can go through, and you should be able to create an account on the evaluator and then you will be able to make any changes to your application until the submission period closes. And application period is due to 2 months from 7 December to 16th of February 2022. So thank you very much for your attention. So it is time for the Q&A. Please feel free to ask any questions. So, and I guess maybe you have already started to ask some questions through the chat. So thank you very much, and we are happy to answer your questions that you might have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Esteline. That was a wonderful presentation, and I hope most of the participants got lots of information from your presentation. There are some questions in the chat box, and I see that Hein is also trying to answer some of them, but there are also other questions from Dian, if I'm not mistaken. Like, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. So Dian is asking that can the transport authority or the government body, can it apply? Is it eligible? Are they eligible for the application?
What the question, sorry, for the local?
Yeah, local authority, transport authorities, are they eligible for the application?
Yeah, actually, yes, we are actually looking for applicants like the organization the eligible applicants should be organizations, NGOs, civil society, and research institutions. So if you're among those eligibility, so you're able to apply. If you really fit in this highlighted organization or anything, but I think that if you have an NGO, you can be able to apply.
That's great. Actually, I think the question was more related to the transport authorities in a city. So transport authorities are also eligible as long as you can submit a proposal and as long as you are ready to implement that project. So local authorities are also eligible for application. So we are happy to accept applications from your side as well. And Esteline, we have another question from Fresco. So Fresco is asking that is it possible to let me read it directly from the chat. So he or she is saying that in addition to data management improvements in transportation technology, is it included? Like, can they produce something related to the transportation technology? Just correct me if I phrased your question incorrectly, Fresco. So yeah, technology is one of the eligible activities in the activity section, in the eligibility section. So if you have anything related to transportation technology, if you develop an application, for example, so you can submit your proposal and be participating in the challenge. So there is another question from Camila Esteline. So it's about the amount of the grant. So you said that 4 awardees will get 30K USD. So the question is that, are they going to divide the 30K for 4, or is it going to be 30K for each?
Okay. So this amount 30K is just for one. It will be for one applicant. It's not going to be divided among 4. Each applicant, we will select 4, and then each of 4 will get 30K USD. Are not going to be divided to the all members. As you can see, is just a small amount. So we are just want to promote or to encourage the innovators for African city in order to, in order to overcome all those challenges that we have mentioned earlier. So it's every we are not going to divide to those 4. Every applicant will get 30 USD.
Yeah, so the total amount of money that we have for this grant is 120,000 USD.
Yeah, correct.
So for applicants, each will get 30,000 USD. And we have another question from Olaf from Mauritius. And the question is that can an organization enter with 2 or more different projects, like two or more applications?
No. One organization can only apply once. So because of course, as we mentioned, we want to promote and we want to receive many innovators from across African regions. So we are really encouraging many organizations to apply, but just for one, they should be able only to send one application, not more than one application. I think it's clear now.
Yeah, it's clear, Esteline. Thank you. And we have from Bito, and he's asking that, is there any template for the request? So I think it's straightforward. So once you the DT4A website, you will find a link to an Evaluator page. So we have everything there. You fill out the form there in Evaluator and explain, briefly explain about your project or what you want to do and your timeline, proposed timeline for the project, then that's it. So we don't have any specific, form to fill out. So you just need to fill out the form in Evaluator application form. So you can take a look at our website and access the Evaluator page from there. And we have additional question from Olaf. So Olaf is asking that about the required stage of the project. So is it going to be, are we only accepting projects at some sort of a stage, like for example at the implementation stage, or are we accepting ideas that can be translated into applications on the ground? So what is the proposed, like the expected stage of the projects at this period?
Agro.
Yeah, Esteline, can you?
Yeah, I didn't. No.
Yeah, Olaf is asking about the current stage of the projects. They might be like simply ideas that are not yet implemented, or other projects that are at the implementation stage. So what is the required stage for the projects? At what stage should they be by now?
Okay, that's a great question. Actually, we, as you can see, we really have a short time to implement the project, and also we also have small amount of money. So we are encouraging for the initiative that are already. If there is some initiative that are already implementing the activity, that's our main aim actually, because we'll be happy to complement your existing innovatives with our challenge fund. So it's fine, no problem for that. So because based on the short time that we have for the implementation, we are okay to select you once you really fit the criteria, even if your initiative is already in the implementation session.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Esteline. And we have another question from Bethel.
Abraham?
Yeah, can you hear me, Esteline? Esteline? Esteline, can you hear me?
Abraham?
Yes, I can hear you, Esteline. All right, so let me go ahead and try to answer some of the questions from the chat until Esteline joins. So Bethel is asking that, does local NGO get support in any way? Yeah, so that's a very good question, Bethel. Yeah, so we have a wide range of experts in this area as advisors. So any applicant who is a winner, the awardees will get continuous support from the team here at WRI or outside WRI, and they will get all the necessary support. And yeah, any organizations like NGOs, research institutions at the universities, they are all eligible to participate. Vito, I'm trying to answer your question. Esteline, are you back? Hello? I think we have lost Esteline. The other question is...
Abraham, sorry.
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah, I can hear you, Esteline. We can hear you.
Okay. Okay, yeah. Perfect.
So the other question that we received, Esteline, about the disbursement, the cost disbursement and the payment. So the question is that the organization or the awardee, should they cover their expenses beforehand, and are they going to receive the money after, like, they cover their expenses at the first stage? Esteline? Okay, I think we have lost Esteline again. Yeah, so let me try to answer this question. Yeah, the organizations are expected, the awardees in general, they are expected to cover their costs, and then we will give 50% of the fund at the end of the first phase. Then after the application, after developing the final project and implementing the final project and submitting the final documents, we will give the other 50% of the fund. So the awardees are expected to answer to pay by themselves for the first stage. And so yeah, there is also another question from Osman about the ceiling for funding. Yeah, so we are giving 30,000 USD per project, per awardee. So there will be 4 awardees, as Esteline presented in her presentation. So the 4 awardees will get, each will get 30K USD. Yeah, and also there is another question regarding the major activities. So the activities are, there are like 3 categories of activities. The first one is research and analysis, and the other is application and tech development. And also the third category is capacity building. So the capacity building can be a program, training program for the local government entities. So it can be like, a quick example can be like some sort of GIS, practical GIS or QGIS trainings for the local authorities. So this can be one example. So if you can come up with other sort of capacity development ideas, then you can apply here. So there are 3 categories. Yeah, I think these are all the questions from the chat. So we would like to see more questions in the chat, and I hope we have answered all the questions. So yeah, and the recording will be available. So we will send a link to all the participants in this meeting. So recording will be available. And if you would like to join a French session, the registration is still possible. So if you're a French speaker, you can register for that and join that session. Okay, so so are there any questions or suggestions? It can be about DT4A in general or the innovation challenge. So questions are welcome. Esteline, are you back?
Yes, I'm back.
All right. So there were like some questions regarding the application categories. So why don't you just give us a highlight of those 3 categories, the application categories? Thank you.
Application categories, like eligible activities.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we actually have three main categories to apply. The first one is technology and development for application for tools and applications. It means that for applicants that really want to develop or to develop new tools for transit data. And then the second one is for capacity building for applicants that really aim to support or to give trainings to local government staff, for example, and then for research and analysis for the applicant that really want to to go beyond mapping or like to make the use of the existing transit data set, like to do some researches and analysis based on the data that we are already based on the data that we already have in our repository, for example. So I think, is it clear now? Or?
Yes, it's pretty
okay, good.
now. Yeah. So there are some couple of questions in the chat. So there is one question from Osman. Osman is asking that whether the policy development for urban transport management in the municipality and application for that, is it going to be accepted? Is policy development eligible? Can it be an eligible project?
Agra?
I think we have lost Estelina again. So let me try.
Sorry.
Yeah. Can you hear me, Estelina?
Yes, now I can hear you.
That's great. So can applicants with a project regarding policy development for urban transport and management in the municipality, will they be accepted to apply?
Yeah, I think so. I think this one, it could be in the capacity building for the local staff, for the local authorities. So yeah, it's acceptable. You can just apply for that, and then as long as you explain and based on the application that we have, and you show the impact that we'll be having based on those policies that you really want to address. So I think it's okay. It's fine. It's eligible project actually.
Yeah, so policy development can be tricky, I guess, but it's still eligible because you cannot see the impact of a policy within this short period of time. But if you think that is going to be okay, then if you can demonstrate that there will be an impact, then that project can be accepted.
Yeah, sure.
Another question from Fresco. Fresco is asking that can different organizations collaborate and work together and submit a proposal? Would that be okay? For example, there might be like some data management organization and be an organization that do another stuff. So they collaborate and apply together. Will that be okay?
Yeah, I think so. I think it would be okay. For us, what we are looking for is just one application. So if you just work together and then send one application for us, it's fine. So you can just work together and then, yeah, I think it's all right. It's okay. You can do that if you feel comfortable to do so.
Yes. Sterling mentioned, you can bring different experts from different organizations and develop an application and send that application to the challenge, and that's acceptable.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, and we will send out the answers in a written format to your questions, and we will try to share that as Hein is saying in the chat. So yeah, are there any additional questions?
Yeah, on the chat.
Yeah.
On the chat, I see Halak Osman say that I hope deadlines for submission is indicated in the proposal guide. Yes, it is indicated. Yeah, everywhere from the call for submission, you can find the deadline, and even to the application form. So it is very clear. So just make sure to do not miss the deadline. But it's really well written in on all our documents. And of course, maybe at the close to the end of the submission, we will of course send a reminder email just to make you like, to hurry up and to apply for the innovation. So we will do that in order to encourage you to send the application or to finish the application form.
That's great, Esteline, thank you. And Maklit is asking whether the government entities can participate in this innovation challenge. So we had that question earlier, and we said that the government offices are eligible to apply for this challenge as long as they can provide documents and prove the impact of that specific project. And also it would be great if the government offices can find some organization to work together with, to collaborate. So this will strengthen the application. So Esteline, there was a question about the phases that we are, how we are going to pay the awardees, like the amount of money, like the process. Would you like to say something on that?
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you, Esteline.
Okay, so we actually have two main phases. As I mentioned earlier, the first disbursement will be made once the design, work plan, and preparation stage is complete. This means that, as you can see, we are not going to give to give money at the beginning of the project. So it is very important for the finalists to think about how they will cover the costs during the designing preparation phase of the project. So I don't know if it's clear now to everyone, or if I can explain it again.
Yeah, it's clear, Esteline. Thank you.
Okay.
So
and I think
yeah.
People by sending us there is our info emails, so you can keep asking any question that you might be having.
Sure. Yeah, I was actually about to say that. So I'll put our email address here, the project email address in the chat. So if you have any questions, further questions, or if you need any elaboration, then we're happy to get back to you and give you answers for your questions. Okay, there are no more questions, Esteline, so.
Okay.
Okay, maybe I think it would be great if you can say something about the timeline, Esteline, because that's really critical, so that everyone understands that.
Let me share again my screen so that I can. So you can see my screen, background. Okay. So you can hear me? All right, so this is the timeline of our challenge. It has 3 main stages. The first one is application period, which will be the application period. It's really having like 3 months. As we already mentioned during the questions that have been asked, so we will always send you a reminder so that you can complete the application form on the time. And then the second stage is related to design and preparation of the work plan of the project. That one will start in June up to September, and it comprises like 3 months. And then during this period, as I already mentioned, the applicant will receive the money after sending us the first report submission, which will be comprised of the work plan, the timeline of the project, the deliverables, and of course we'll be working together with the team, with the WRI team, and also the advisory committee. Yeah, so after that, after you send that report, you will be receiving the first like 50% of the disbursement. And then after that, of course, it will be the implementation stage, like doing some activities on the ground. So that one, it will just start from October to March or April. So that one, it's like implementation, and also after that we do like impact assessment of the project, and we ask you to present your achievements and the impact of the project, of the initiative that has in the so that's the main point of the timeline. Then after that, you receive the final disbursement in May, at the end of the May 2023. So I think, I don't know if it's not clear. If you still have some question, of course, you can keep reaching to us with our email address that we have already shared to you.
Yes, thank you very much, Esteline, and I hope we have answered all the questions, but if we missed your question, then you can send us an email and you can reach out to us at info@digitaltransportforafrica.org. We are happy to answer your questions, and thank you very much for being part of this, and we are hoping to see some good applications and support the aim of DT4A and realize your projects with the money from the Innovation Challenge. So I hope we have answered every question. So thank you very much for joining, and so we will see you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
For joining.
Bye. Bye.